Good morning. I declare the 33rd Convocation of IRMA open.
Sangachadvam sangvadadvam sangho mana sijanata Sangachadvam sangvadadvam sangho mana sijanata deva bhagam yatha purve sanjanana upasate deva bhagam yatha purve sanjanana upasate samano mantra samiti samani samano mantra samiti samani samanam mana sahachita mesha samanam mantra mabhi mantrayeva samanena vohavisha juhomi sangachadvam sangvadadvam sangho mana sijanata deva bhagam yatha purve sanjanana upasate samaniva akuti samana hridayaniva samanamastu vo mano yathava susahasati om shantihi shantihi shantihi
Srimati Aruna Roy, our chief guest for the convocation, Chairman Shri Deep Joshi, esteemed members of the Board of Governors of IRMA, the graduating batch, their families and friends, and the staff, colleagues, faculty of IRMA, my warm greetings to all of you. It is a great privilege for me to address this august gathering. Over the last 3 decades, and more, every year, the director has had the great honor of welcoming some of the most distinguished public figures to present the certificates to the future airmans and share their thoughts and experiences with the graduating batch and well-wishers of IRMA community. We welcome our chief guest of today, Srimati Aruna Roy, a well-known social activist and founder of the Mazdoor Kisan Shakti Sangthan, Magasasay Award winner, and known to be the architect of the Right to Information Act. This year has been the first year of the implementation of the IRMA 5-year plan, which envisaged expansion of our flagship program, the postgraduate program in rural management, infrastructure expansion, and to rededicate itself to as an institution of knowledge creation and dissemination. The expansion involved a larger batch size. The larger batch, PRM 34, was a more diverse group in terms of its composition of regions, urban, peri-urban, rural backgrounds, and disciplines. A large and diverse batch came with its own challenges, requiring adjustments by the participants, by the faculty, by our administration, and by the community at IRMA. The entire family of IRMA took this as a challenge and worked to smoothen the process of integrating the new participants into the system. I must place on record my appreciation of the administration, various faculty committees, PRM committee, and not the least, the participants themselves. Without their support, we could not have met the challenges effectively. The expansion also involved building of infrastructure, that is, a lot of construction work on the campus, as we built a new academic classroom complex, new hostel blocks, and a new mess complex to accommodate this larger batch size. As I had indicated during the last convocation, the infrastructure expansion program has taken its toll of the lush green IRMA campus. But the progress of the construction is on target, and we hope that the new session will see participants resident in the new hostel blocks and availing of more modern academic complex. We are thankful to the building committee, the GM Estate and his team for this achievement. We are also grateful to the NDDB for agreeing to take this on as a turnkey project on a no-cost basis, on a no cost to us. I also thank the IRMA community with bearing with all the inconvenience arising out of this activity on our campus. The regular management development programs were on track, while there was a major increase in the MDP activities given the larger revenue target assigned to us this year. I report to you with great pleasure that the MDP team was able to meet the challenge and achieve the revenue targets. We had a total of 39 on-campus management development programs, including 2 MDPs coordinated by resource persons from outside IRMA, and 19 off-campus MDPs. The highlight of the year has been that a large number of new organizations sent their executives to our programs this year. I would like to place on record my appreciation of the MDP coordinator and his team, the ETDC staff, and the faculty colleagues who worked overtime to achieve what looked to us like an impossible target at that time. On the research and consulting, I am happy to report that the 4 centers of excellence that were inaugurated last April have been active on various fronts. A large number of policy engagement activities were conducted this year in collaboration with national and international organizations. We collaborated with the Land O'Lakes International, one of the largest dairy cooperatives in the United States, to facilitate a learning visit and consultative workshop for members of dairy cooperatives from African countries. We conducted a policy dialogue on panchayats and service delivery at Delhi in collaboration with the Global Development Network. More recently, we have successfully conducted a round table on corporate social responsibility, CSR, among business, civil society, and academia to involve policy and action initiatives in the area in the light of the new rules on CSR in the Companies Act of 2013. We also conducted the second edition of the Rural Management Symposium this year, along with other rural management schools at IRMA. IRMA is one among 49 think tanks around the world, funded by a consortium of funders, including the Gates Foundation, Hewlett Foundation, DFID, UK, and managed by the International Development Research Center, IDRC, Canada. This year, we are embarking on a number of collaborations to widen our national and international outreach, and we are in the process of signing MOUs with a number of organizations, including the Michigan State University. These initiatives include curriculum development, faculty, and hopefully student exchange, which will add value to the flagship postgraduate program in rural management and to our doctoral program. Grants from the Ministry of Rural Development and the Think Tank Initiative have enabled us to undertake many of these initiatives, many new initiatives and new initiatives on the IT front. We have a brand new IRMA website and a new film on IRMA's rural journey uploaded on our IRMA YouTube channel. IRMA's Facebook page on our website is maintained by our student media cell. This gives it a very young, vibrant, and dynamic look, and the updation, I must say, is much more frequent than happens on our website. Yesterday, our chief guest launched a web portal, the Gramin Gyan Kosh, a repository of knowledge on rural development. We are also in the process of implementing a new ERP solution to improve our administration and accounting systems and functioning. The students, as always, have been very active, keeping us on our toes and challenged all the time. PRM 33 started an IRMA social entrepreneurship cell, ISAC they called it. PRM 34 has been actively pursuing it, and they organized an Ideas Chopal, a social entrepreneurship business plan competition, judged by IRMANs in the field. This went along with our rural management symposium. Organic farming project on the campus initiated by PRM 33. The outgoing batch has continued, and we recently saw notices for sale of the organic products. In fact, yesterday they took our chief guest, Aruna Roy, to harvest one very large pumpkin on their organic farm, which was really wonderful to see. Two new initiatives have been started by this batch. A photography cell called Reflections, and you'll see their members here actively taking photographs, and a health cell, Anamaya, to promote health awareness on the campus. They also conducted a blood donation camp recently. Today we are assembled here to celebrate the graduation of the class of 2014, PRM 33. This and the fellow program in participants of the fellow program in rural management. This year, the batch was placed in 44 organizations, of which 14 were recruiting at IRMA for the first time. The placement was in cooperatives and other collective organizations, governmental agencies, non-governmental development sector, agriculture and microfinance, agribusiness and rural marketing, technology, and the consulting sector. Social entrepreneurship organizations came to recruit from IRMA for the first time. We are also gathered here to graduate the doctoral students under the fellow program in rural management. This year, we see 6 of our fellow participants graduating and being placed at prestigious academic and other organizations. Dear participants, it is a happy occasion to see another batch of IRMANs go out into the real world. You are the ambassadors of IRMA, adding to our brand value. We are sure you will stand up to the ideals and spirit of cooperation that you have imbibed during your tenure here at IRMA for 2 years. and participate in fulfilling the mission of IRMA towards the betterment of the lives of the rural people. I am reminded of an old song, lyrics in the film Ganga Jamuna by Shakil Badauni. इंसाफ के डगर पे बच्चों दिखाओ चल के, ये देश है तुम्हारा, नेता तुम ही हो कल के. I urge you to go out and show the world how to walk the path of justice. This is your country, always remember that, and you are the leaders of tomorrow. I wish the graduating FPRM and PRM participants a wonderful, intellectually stimulating, and emotionally satisfying career ahead. Thank you. May I once again, Srimati Aruna Roy, say how privileged we are to have you amongst our midst today. May I present to you the class of 2014, each of them equally bright, motivated, and raring to go. May I request our chairman, Sri Deep Joshi, to place the Angavastram on their strong shoulders, and may I also request the chief guest to bless the participants of FPRM and PRM and present them their diplomas.
On the recommendation of the Academic Council and approval of IRMA Board of Governors, 6 participants of the Fellow Program in Rural Management are to be conferred the title Fellow of the Institute of Rural Management, Anand. I would like to call their names one by one. Mr. B.P. Suresh. Mr. Partha Sarathi Roy. Mr. Rajesh Kumar. Sushant Kumar Sharma. Devashish Moitro. Thank you. Out of 6 participants of the Fellow Program in Rural Management, 1 participant, Mr. Ardhendu Shekhar Singh, is conferred the title Fellow of the Institute of Rural Management, Anand, in absentia. Thank you.
On the recommendation of the Academic Council and approval of the IRMA Board of Governors, 119 participants of the postgraduate program in rural management are to be awarded postgraduate diploma in rural management. I would like to call their names one by one. Shruti Kapoor. Tarana Agrawal. Champa Tudu. Mimansa Khanna. Neha Sanwal. Nidhi Navadia. Prerana Rana. Neha Durga. Ashima Agrawal. Aditi Kumar. Mansi Katuria, Prachi Patel, Priyanka Mehta, Sneh Prabha, Ishita Meshram, Soumya Arora, Surabhi Su, Surabhi Gupta, Jyotsna Devi, Saloni Tandon, Shweta Garg, Naivedya Parakal, Sonali Uppal, Nivedita Dev, Nimalina Shed, Kirti Nambisan, Priyanka Topo, Abhijit Mitra, Namita Sivasankaran, Priya Garg, Tanvi, Tanmoy Sharma, Akshata Kari, Geeta Singhal, Swati Rendu Chintala, Devanshi Tripathi, Meenal Malik, Megha Paryani, मीमांसा मिश्रा, दीपा पीके, मेघा चौधरी, पूजा बर्मन, श्वेता सिंह, विनय कुमार श्रीवास्तव, कोनी देना कृष्ण स्वरूप, निधि बंसल, निकेत मोहन बाई, सुमेधा हिराजी, मनीष गौतम, अभिनव शर्मा, मीनू सागर, सिद्धार्थ शुक्ला, अंकित कुमार पारेख, मधुजीत एन, मृत्युंजय बख्शी, मुकुंद नारायण, शीका डगर, अंशुल मालिक, शिव प्रसाद बच्चू, पर्णिका त्रिपाठी, योगेश, अंकिता सिरोही, रिद्धि मल्होत्रा, अजित आनंद, हर्षिल अग्रवाल, पुष्पक कुमार, Utsav Agrawal. Kanav Balla. Krishnakant Sharma. Korean Judge. Sankalp Tripathi. Dhruv Narang. Ravi Kumar Yadav. Divya Bhatt. Nikhil Singhal. Swati Batra. Amit Kumar. Anand Tiwari. Neha Singh. Rakesh Kumar. Vaibhav Pandey. Ashish Agrawal. Chandraban Kakoti. Sambodh Tiwari. Amrendra Kumar. Daphne Albuquerque. Debajyoti Chakrabarti. Swapnil Agrawal. Pavan Kumar. Rishabh Dwivedi. Rohit Meshram. Sunandan. Apurva Chaudhary. Sushant Bhatia. Abhishek Singh, Siddharth Shankar, Vishwas Virani, Ashutosh Garg, Biswajit Sanigrahi, Ikchanshu Vishen, Kantil Dikshit, Mridul Kumar Daniwala, Bhagchand Jain, Yathartha Dave, Manjunath M. Kamath, Nitish Parikh, Ajit Kumar, Nikhil Mehta, Tanuj Sharma, Aniket Vijay Jadhav, Punit Jain, Pratik Bhatia, out of 119 participants of the postgraduate program in rural management, 7 participants are awarded postgraduate diploma in rural management in absentia. Thank you all.
Congratulations to the graduating FPRM and PRM batch. The Kuchibotla Vasanthi Foundation was started in memory of an IRMA graduate, a late Kuchibotla Vasanthi, who immediately after completion of the program in April 1997 joined Gram Vikas, a non-government organization in Orissa. She passed away in an unfortunate accident in 1997. Her parents, family members, friends, and well-wishers started a foundation in her name to raise her dreams and goals, to realize her dreams and goals. The foundation decided to award a gold medal to the topper of the graduating students of our 2-year postgraduate program in rural management each year. This year's awardee is Ms. Nibedita Dev. May I request Ms. Nibedita to come on stage to receive the Kuchibotla Award from the hands of our chief guest. May I request the chairman to address the gathering?
Thank you, Jeemol. My dear Aruna, Director Jeemol Unni, my colleagues on the board, IRMA board, the faculty and staff of this institute, parents and friends of the graduating students, my dear guests, and my dearest students. Good morning to you, and welcome to this convocation. It was a great delight to see so many young women. Last year, Minister Jairam Ramesh was here, and he complained, quite rightly, that he didn't see anybody from the Adivasi areas, the tribal areas. And I see this year, there is a Topo here, there is a Tudu here. So I'm delighted that we have young women from Jharkhand. Good luck to you, and Jharkhand needs you. So, seeing so many young women go out there, I feel a bit more secure about our nation, about our democracy. So go out there and change the world. It's for you to change. Some 35 years ago, the founders of IRMA began the audacious journey, the idea of starting a new discipline called rural management. They set out to put together a body of knowledge which continues, develop a unique pedagogy that demands that our students spend a considerable part of their time in the Karma Bhumi, in rural India, in organizations of rural producers, rural people, before they get awarded a degree. It's a befitting and wonderful gift to us from Aruna that she is here with us today on this joyous occasion. She volunteered as a professional to work with the rural many years before IRMA was, I think, even dreamt of. I remember reading an article written ironically by, and that says something about our own people here, by an American journalist, scholar, Marcus Fundra. And for somebody, a young man at that time, who was exploring the idea of working with the rural, that gave a great deal of confidence. So thank you, Aruna, for being with us, for joining us. For an educational institute, convocation is the pinnacle of the academic work. It's the time we celebrate our awards, their graduation, and set them free out there in the wide world. We are in the midst of a general election. And don't worry, I'm not going to make an election speech. Elections every 5 years or so remind us that we are a democracy. We wake up and we go and vote. And we are rightly, I think, proud of being the largest democracy human history has known. And unless we do something really silly, I don't think we're going to be dislodged from that haloed pedestal. We have a wonderful constitution. We have a written constitution, a liberal constitution. And the constitution mandates that social, economic, political justice for all will be the principle, will be the idea behind every law, policy, program, and institution in this country. That's the constitutional mandate. And over the years, we have put together laws, refined them. We have made policies, refined them, made programs, refined them to fulfill the constitutional mandate to bring social, political, economic justice for all our citizens, to redeem the pledge we made to ourselves in our Constitution. But as we all know and fret about all the time, what is written in policies, what is written in laws, what is mandated by programs, is not what gets translated on the ground. How things turn out on the ground always seem to be very different from how they were intended to be. There is a huge gap between policy and practice, programs and implementation, laws and their follow-up. We all have plenty of examples. Let me share one of mine, because it's very fresh in my mind, from my travels last week. In one of the states in East India, I spent about 3 weeks there. I went to villages and homes of the so-called particularly vulnerable tribal groups, the PTCs. The phrase earlier used to be primitive tribal groups, but I guess somewhere the government of India felt that that sounded a bit awkward. So it's now been called particularly vulnerable tribal groups. Some 8 years ago, our parliament passed an act, a landmark act in some ways, because it tries to reverse wrongs that had been done over 150 years. It tried to give justice, redeem the many struggles that tribal people had waged for independence long before 1857. The fights, the Santal Hulg of 1784 was the first public uprising against British rule. And what the government, what the parliament did, and the preamble to the act, in a very bold and very unusual, using very unusual phraseology, sets out the purpose as correcting the historic wrongs that had been meted out to tribal people. When Indian Forest Act was first enacted in 1865, many areas where there were forests and there were tribal people living inside those forests were demarcated as Sarkari forests, reserve forests, government forests, a new category of land use in our country. And the law, the FRA, the Forest Rights Act as it is called in short, tried to correct that by granting rights, by recognizing rights of tribal people to their ancestral land. These are words I'm drawing from the Act itself. And the law said that up to 10 acres, 4 hectares, of land per household would be the limit over which rights would be recognized. The PTGs, the particularly vulnerable tribal groups, were amongst the worst sufferers of this historic injustice because they tended to live deeper into the forests, much smaller populations, much smaller clans. So when I went to these villages, I found village after village, people had been given rights, pattas, over 1/10 of an acre of land. It defies all logic why any Adivasi, why any tribal would have gone in the middle of a jungle to settle on 1/10 of an acre of land. That's smaller than the average size of a lawn in the Lutyens' bungalows in Delhi that our ministers occupy. And in one village, I found that every one of some 40 households had been given 0.1 acre of land. And they didn't know where the land was. They were not given a map. And one could say the same. So this is how FRA is implemented. And one could say the same thing about MG Narega, one could say the same thing about PESA, about any of the alphabetical creatures that define our programs and policies. And not only in this state, in fact it's considered one of the better performers, but in any state, on any program, any scheme, any policy, any law. So how does one change all this? How does one ensure that what is thought, what is planned in ideas and policies and laws to redeem the pledge of bringing social justice, political justice, economic justice to everyone? How do those ideas get correctly translated into practice? I have no ideas. I have no solutions. I don't think anybody has one solution. But one of the things that I think does work, from my own experience, limited experience of working in villages, and seeing the work of many others who have worked in villages, is that deepening democracy, democratizing democracy, phrase I borrow from an author I've forgotten the name of, is probably the way forward. If you put in place mechanisms and processes and systems that people can themselves use to claim their rights, to claim their entitlements, to get justice, to bring about transparency in the way the apparatus of state works, I think things can change. I think we can redeem the pledge we made to ourselves in our Constitution. And that's been the work that Aruna voluntarily dedicated her life to, inspiring many others, like myself and many others in future generations. Through her Jan Sunwais, through the idea of social audit, through the RTI, and many more initiatives that she's been involved with. So as you go forward, fly out with the new wings that you have acquired here. As you go out to create a space for yourselves, as you go out to put into practice the wonderful Diksha that you have received at this great institution, I hope you would spare a thought for democracy. I hope you would spare a thought to ask yourself, what can I do? How can I do things that would deepen democracy at your workplace, in the institutions, organizations that you work, in the communities that you work with, and how you conduct yourself? How can your work, how can your actions add to democracy, nurture democracy, democratize democracy? And since you've received your degrees from Aruna, I hope some of her passion, some of her dedication to this idea has rubbed off on you. So good luck to you. And as you move forward, as you go out there, do keep us in your hearts and your minds. Your alma mater will always be yours, and you will always be ours. Good luck, and thank you very much. I now request Aruna ji to deliver her convocation address. Aruna.
Deep, Jeemol, distinguished members of the governing body, faculty and students and graduates of IRMA. It's indeed an honor and a pleasure to be with all today. And I'm really pleased because in a sense, by coming here today, I bring together two streams of my life. Because I was trained in an IAS institute, which is a management institute really. It teaches you how to manage government, teaches you how to manage and understand the functioning of systems. But I left it and I went to a different world where I learned from friends on the ground how real management takes place. And in all humility, in the next 40 years, I've learned far more about here how the poor, the destitute, the discriminated manage their lives in the most adverse circumstances and sit on top of their problems. And that management is real management. What we learn is nothing compared to what they do. So it's the coming together of these two streams that my learning has taken place. Deep has paid me some really honest and good comments from his heart, and I welcome them. But I really do think I'm never sure whether I'm doing something right till I actually consult many others. And I do believe that the collective is far more important than an individual. You see on the screen a village home, which is where the MKSS has been located since 1987, when Shankar, Nikhil and I moved there. In this place was born the right to information. In this place, discussions took place. In this home, we still live. We cook, we wash, we live like our friends in the neighborhood for a political reason, because we know that unless we live like that, we won't understand real management of time. We won't understand the real pressure of a house which lives from day to day. We won't understand how much time it takes to bring water from the hand pump or the well to the house. We won't understand how much time it takes to sweep and mop and clean a mud floor. We won't understand how difficult it is to live a very ordinary life. So for this reason, we decided to live there. The Mazdoor, Kisan, Shakti Sangthan is not a funded organization. We take no institutional funds from anybody. We are a political organization which is not a party, a member of a political party. We think we inherit Mahatma Gandhi's great heritage of political activism, where you do not look for office, but you look to see whether social justice and justice and equality and equity reaches everybody. So I'm really proud to be in Gujarat, the place of Mahatma Gandhi's birth, where Anand is right next door, and we have learned so much from the establishment of Anand about the essential collectiveness of Gujarati minds, of cooperatives, how you can set things going, and how you can achieve the impossible with a very sharing and equitable distributive system. I want to talk to you in a manner in which you might find it a bit strange. I'm going to tell you stories in the middle, because without stories, there is no relevance to what I say. You'll say she's come again, and like anybody else, she says, you know, gray hair, she has lots of experience. She comes and tells her, this is what you should be doing. And you say, you know, she's a crashing bore. So I decided that I will tell you stories and then draw conclusions from that. Why do I say that you need a different kind of management? I'll tell you a story. In 1991, the Mazdoor, Kisan, Shakti Sangthan had got fed up. They had sat on a hunger strike in 1990 asking for minimum wages. The collector came and said he promised us minimum wages and didn't pay. So in 1991, can I have the next slide, please? 1991, Narayan, who's now in his late 30s and early 40s, was a student, a postgraduate student in Beavar. He's my neighbor. He was in the 10th class when I reached Devdungri. He and Devilal, Narayan is an OBC, Devilal is a Dalit. They decided to go as labor on a JRY work, keep records and fight for minimum wages. They worked for 15 days and they kept asking the panchayat as well as the department to come and measure the work and tell them how much they'd worked. It didn't happen. The panchayat had a meeting and they decided uniformly to pay 11 rupees. They protested. And thereby began the second major battle for minimum wages, and we sat on hunger strike. And I tell you, since then we don't sit on hunger strike. That's another issue I'm not going to tell you today. But we since then don't sit on hunger strike because it puts more pressure on us than it does on the government. They probably want us to die. So we've decided we'll never go on hunger strike, and this is an issue which I keep quarreling with Medha about. There are many arguments I've had with Medha and other friends who don't go on hunger strike. Anyway, we had a great success. We had a victory because we chose a politically correct time. It was between elections. The government of Rajasthan was caught on the back foot. Government of India was ruled by the bureaucrats. Mr. Shankaran was then the secretary of the Rural Development Ministry. We wrote to him and said, this is complete nonsense because in your guidelines you promised us minimum wages. Why are you paying 95 paise a day to a village near Bhim as minimum wages? So what did the government do? It stopped an installment of 100 crores to government of Rajasthan. That's why our minimum wages were paid. And you would be surprised that what we wanted was just 2,000 rupees. And the government spent lakhs of rupees trying to prevent that. And then it was only when the 100 crores was stopped that we got the minimum wage. But when we went, we saw the earlier slide, when we were sitting on the path garden, inside the house, there's a small mud angan. We were sitting and talking, and Mohanji, and Mohan Ba we called him, he just passed away last year, Dalit marginal farmer said, unless those documents come out, we'll always be liars. He said, we'll never get justice and our integrity will never be proven. They'll say we are liars and we continue to fight. Which version is the truth? They used to say your version of the truth. And we used to say truth is one. You can have many versions of facts, but the truth will be one. So graduates of management school, you will carry all your theoretical proficiency for dealing with the development of rural India, and you need those proficiencies. But it also means you'll transfer knowledge, you'll transfer skills, you will monitor, you'll keep records, you'll do all the theoretical work that's necessary. And like everything else, management now is a new discipline because there were no management institutes when I went to university. So it's a new discipline. But we must understand that all institutions of management or any discipline that we talk about arises from looking at practice. It's from the looking at practice that we evolve this, but we put it into a rather rigid framework. I'm very happy IRMA has not done it, but nevertheless, theoretically they put it into a rigid framework which cannot be contested. My sister did a postgraduate degree in social work from the Tata Institute of Social Sciences and passed out in '73. And she used to tell me that she fought Professor Gore, who was then the head of Tata Institute, to say, we don't want a curriculum which is based on American experience. We want a curriculum which is based on an Indian experience because we are working in India. And finally, of course, now Tata Institute has changed, the curriculum has changed, and it has a relevance. So let's think of even Aristotle when he wrote his Poetics. He wrote it on the basis of great playwrights who existed at that time. Sophocles, Euripides, Aeschylus, great playwrights, 2,500 years ago. We still go, I don't know if you all read literature, but if you read any kind of literature, you go back to Aristotle's Poetics. But then came Shakespeare. And Shakespeare defied every rule that Aristotle said was necessary. And he produced great theatre. Shakespeare was unlettered. He did not go to a school. God knows whether he did or didn't. There are so many questions about Shakespeare. But the theatre is created is relevant even today. If you go and watch a play of Shakespeare's, whatever he has to say about life still has relevance. So we must never forget that we have categories and we have criteria and we have modes of thinking, but they should never ever become rigid. And that's one lesson I think you will take with you from here. And principles will always remain unchallenged. You can't question truth, you can't question integrity. मगर आप कहेंगे कि हमारे ही तरीके होने चाहिए, इसी तरीके से होना चाहिए, तो देश में कभी नहीं हो सकता. दीप ने कहा अभी कि वो जहाँ गए, वहाँ देखा, वहाँ पे जो परिस्थिति है, जो वहाँ होता है, it doesn't happen in Gujarat, it doesn't happen in Tamil Nadu. How the village is planned in Tamil Nadu and Rajasthan is so different. Since I'm born at Tamilian, I never lived in Tamil Nadu for too long. But anyway, in Tamil Nadu, the Dalits live in a cheri, or which used to be called cheri, now it's called a colony, which is 1 mile away from the Uru, which is the main village. So when you electrify the village, you electrify the Uru, not the cheri or the colony. You give every facility to the Uru, but not the cheri or the colony. And I've heard, just 5 years ago, I went to a huge human rights public hearing where people still live in abysmal conditions. But in Rajasthan, it is not so. Our Harijans and our Valmikis and our Dalits all lived on the periphery of the village. The village has grown. Now they are in the center or in part center of the village. So you can't indiscriminately attack a Dalit home without the fear of burning your own house. So who's progressive? Is Rajasthan progressive or Tamil Nadu progressive? And Tamil Nadu people were so angry with me when I said Rajasthan is more progressive than you are. You call us a backward state, but our living conditions are much better. So in this case, we must understand that making anything standardized and uniform is a danger in India. We are strong because we are so different, so plural, so many languages, so many cultures, and we are so different. When I left the IAS, again a little story, when I left the IAS in 1975, I didn't have the arrogance that I was a great IAS officer, but I had certain arrogance. I thought, oh, I know how to deal with people. After all, I know how to read and write, and I know more. So I went to this village, and I sat with this woman, and I said, I want to talk to you. She said to me in Rajasthani, what the hell have you come for? So I said, I want to talk to you. She said, move. And she brushed me aside because she wanted to work. Finally, she told me, and I'll speak in Hindi. She said, she actually spoke in Rajasthani, but I'll speak in Hindi. She said, I don't want to become a collector. I don't want to read and write. I'm very happy as I am. You please leave. I was shocked. I went back and I sat and I thought, what have I done wrong? And then from then onwards, a new learning has begun. All those people are now my friends. But I learned with humility that she wasn't wrong, but I was wrong. I just barged into her house. Why should she talk to me? Gandhiji said that it's in listening to people, in his long travel around India, traveling with people in their third-class compartment and listening to them, that he fashioned the plans of action for fighting the British. And believe me, he learned how to feel the pulse of people because he understood and listened to them. His ethics was understood by people, but because he talked to them. Because we all believe in the principle of ethics, but to transform it into action and into our lives, we have to relate it to the tolerance levels we have and how we fight discrimination. So there's no point saying, I believe in ahimsa. Ahimsa demands a lot from us. So all of us who believe in these things need to understand that we have to listen to people. So I'm sure you will listen, but if you do listen and something of an immense insight comes to you, please remember me and write to me and tell me that this is one insight we must keep in mind, because there's no shortage of insights. Deep always comes back with stories. Give me insights. I talk to other friends who give me insights. The other argument that I think we should fight is this unipolar world view. Everyone should drink Coca-Cola. Everyone should have McDonald's. Everyone should. Why should everyone? The diversity of our natural resources is also reflected in the diversity of our cultures. Why should we not have diverse cultures? Why don't we have diverse ways of dressing? Why don't we have so many diverse things that we do? Why is pluralism so important? And then when we say this, when we fight against natural resources being exploited and we say it's wrong, then today's tactic is not bombs really, not even is it weapons, it is statistics. They throw statistics at my face and say you're wrong. And whether they crunch the figures or they spit the figures or whatever they do with figures, they ultimately tell us this is right. And since always in India we felt mathematics is a good thing, but other sciences are weak. You think so? My mother did mathematics and science, and I did arts. And they'd say, oh, you're Hema's daughter. But Hema did mathematics and physics. Why are you doing English literature? As if I'd fallen by the wayside. So mathematics, we always feel, is complete and absolute. But it depends on what premise you use your figures and your crunching and munching of figures. Please don't forget, this is true. When the Planning Commission said to us that people must live on 23 rupees a day, then they raised it to 26. We didn't agree because it's not true. So there is a limit to statistics. I read a book called How to Lie with Statistics. And it is true. And this was a statistician telling us how selectively you can use information and data to really prove a point of view. So I can use my statistics. And as in this case, you know that Arjun Sengupta's report versus the other reports has been a big battle. Many of us want Arjun Sengupta to be heard. But they tell us, no, there's Tendulkar, and after Tendulkar, there'll be somebody else. And it goes on and on. And the poor who are at the receiving end of all this feel that those, they are baffled. More than by bullets, they are baffled by these figures. And they are quiet because they can't fight it. Can I have the next slide, please? In one of these major fights in understanding life, I'm going to tell you a story again. That's Northi. Northi and I have been friends for the last 30 years. She taught me how to fight the real battle with workers. I couldn't have fought, I couldn't have done RTI if I hadn't fought her earlier minimum wage battles. She told me how to fight the minimum wage battle in her name because she wouldn't go to the Supreme Court. A case was filed by Sanjit Roy, who happens to be my husband. Sanjit Roy versus the government of Rajasthan, which we won by a double bench because the government of Rajasthan then appealed against a single bench judgment, and it's a landmark judgment which says that minimum wages must be paid because it violates Article 14 and Article 35 of the Constitution. But she fought the battle. So I think Northi, who's now Sarpanch, who also uses the computer, also goes to Narega works. She's a Dalit woman. So she goes and works in Narega, she comes back, she puts her information in, she goes to the website to see how many people are there recorded in her panchayat. Now, people like her are the leaders of tomorrow, not you and I in that sense. Because when there is a Northi, then she speaks of change. And she always used to say, हम कहते हैं ना खड़े होके, पिछले 60 साल में कुछ नहीं हुआ. भाषण देते हैं, हम भी देते हैं, खूब खड़े हो जाते हैं कहीं बीच में कहते हैं, ये तो सरकार कुछ भी नहीं की तो मुल्ले पल्ले को खींचती है. कहती है यार तू अपने लिए बोल ना, मेरे लिए मत बोल. मेरे लिए बहुत कुछ बदला है. मैं तो अपने गांव में ठाकुर के यहाँ बैठ नहीं सकती थी, ऊपर नहीं बैठ सकती थी, मैं मशीन नहीं चला सकती थी, नीचे बैठ के मशीन चलाना पड़ता था, मैं चौपाल में नहीं जा सकती थी, मुझे घूंघट लेना पड़ता था. मेरे लिए तो बहुत फर्क आया है. चलो कुछ तो नहीं, तुम बहुत बोलना यार, मेरे लिए मत, अपने लिए बोल लेना, मेरे लिए मत बोलना. So that's the kind of common sense. That's the kind of common sense and wisdom we need. And as Sarpanch, she has done the impossible. She has given the minority community a burial ground which they couldn't get for years. She has fought the community of landowners to give way for a public road which her previous sarpanches who were men could not do. So she has delivered, and she has delivered very well. So in a divisible and feudal society, we have to remember that we must resist stereotyping. What do you think I am? How would you describe me? You describe me as a grey-haired woman? You're right. You describe me as an elderly woman? You're right. You can describe me as an activist? You're right. You describe me as a fighter? You're right. You describe me as a lover of music? You're right. But which of these labels will I stick on me when? And how will I describe you? As I describe you as a young person only? Will I say you got long hair? Will I say that you have short hair? Will I say you're a man or a woman? Will I describe you as a region from which you come? Will I describe you? We all have many identities. And all of them together make my person. If we reduce identities to one, it's the most dangerous thing. We are one. I mean, I'm now speaking to you as an activist. But that doesn't shove away my other identities. What has happened, and I'm speaking from feminism. I don't know how much feminism my young women friends talk about and listen to. We fought against fragmentation. We fought against this. We said, don't label us. What did they label us as? A womb. Because all that I ever saw was our reproductive facility must be stopped. So they saw a woman, they thought of family planning. For heaven's sake, I'm much more than that womb. I'm a thinking person. I may be a player of games. I may be an intelligent person. I may be a scientist. I may be a pilot. But when I was young, the woman just represented reproductivity in a village. I'm not talking about my family, perhaps. So we need to be thought of holistically. So we fought many battles. So in the holistic part of it, it's very, very important. And I'll tell you why I'm saying it. When India divides, it divides on what basis? It divides on religion. It divides on caste. It divides on gender. What happened to Nirbhay? What happened to her? All because you see somebody as a commodity and a utility. And you're now conditioned to believe that that commodity and utility must be used, whatever cost. Same way you think about all the other divisive factors. And let me give you an example from communalism. When communal riots take place anywhere in this country or abroad, your entire faculty of rationality is finished. Because it possesses one identity of yours and pushes it right up. You lose your sensibility. And thereby, a whole set of actions occur which are, in my opinion, irrational, undemocratic, uncivilized, unhuman, inhuman. But we don't even realize that we are so. I'll quickly read 2-3 lines of one of my favorite poets called Yeats. And he says, I'll read the last 2 lines. He says, in one of his most famous poems, he says, mere anarchy is loosed upon the world. The blood-dimmed tide is loosed, and everywhere the ceremony of innocence is drowned. The best lack all conviction, while the worst are full of passionate intensity. These 2 lines are very important. The best lack all conviction. The worst are full of passionate intensity. If we allow the best of us, do not speak out, do not express what we believe is right for this country, don't use our heads, because sometimes the head is very important and it must be used. If we don't do it, we face real trouble. I don't have to labor this point. You all understand it. And what Deep said about deepening democracy also means that we must keep a cool head. We must look at things rationally and not be swayed by things that will tear us apart. Decision-making, common sense, everything cuts through all this chaff. And I'll tell you another story, lest you get very bored with me. And that we must believe that our common sense and intelligence is there for us to invoke. It's always there. So that's what we need to do when we go out and talk to people. Next slide, please. So there is Sushila. मैं हिंदी में बताऊंगी ये कहानी. सब लोग हिंदी समझते? हाँ? हम गए थे 1996 we had gone to Delhi because the first draft of the RTI done by Justice P.B. Sawant was going to be released. V.P. Singh was there, many political persons were there, Sushila was there, I was there, many people were there, and the press asked Sushila, भाई तुम क्यों यहाँ आए हो यहाँ पे? कितनी बड़ी लिखी हो? तो उसने कहा मैं चौथी पास हूँ। तुम चौथी पास हो और सूचना के अधिकार के बारे में बात करने के लिए आए हो? तुम समझते हो बहुत कठिन चीज़ है? She said, हाँ। They said, क्यों आए हो? And she said, मैं अपने बेटे को 10 रुपये देकर बाजार भेजती हूँ, वापस आता है तो मैं उससे हिसाब मांगती हूँ। ये सरकार मेरे नाम पर अरबों खरबों रुपए खर्च करती है, मैं हिसाब नहीं मांगूंगी क्या? हमारा पैसा हमारा हिसाब। So, in 4 words, she reduced the RTI's concept and the perception of it and the validity of it and its constitutional validity in those 4 words. It is the intelligence of these people that we have to look for, and it's plentifully and readily available, but we have to become listeners like Gandhi. We have to go there and listen to them, and everything clears. After Sushila said that press conference, no reporter asked us about the necessity or the relevance of RTI. It was established because people came with 2 opinions. Is it relevant? Is it important? Will it do this? Will it do that? So as I stand before you, the national election is in progress, and not one manifesto talks of the poor. Not one. They all talk about development, they talk about progress, they talk about growth, but they don't talk about poverty because they think that by not talking about it, they can just brush it away, but they can't. We exist, poverty exists, and it's going to increase because more and more of us are getting unemployed because then more and more machinery is coming. I won't go into the economics of it, but I'll just mention one thing. They talk about this trickle-down theory. I'll use a metaphor. The pot, one hole is clogged by corruption. Completely. Many holes maybe are clogged by corruption. Some of them are clogged by misgovernance, and the rest are clogged because of arbitrary use of power. So you have a trickle-down pot with all its holes clogged. How, in what name is this trickle ever going to come to us? Even if it had trickled, it would have taken decades. But it's clogged. So how can we buy a government's position or party's position, all the parties' position, that you have a trickle-down theory of development? That's why many of the battles we fight are those fights. And there it is a question of policy, it's a question of decision-making, it's a question of RTI being framed by people, Narega being framed by people, the Forest Act being framed by people, that the people have a right to sit in on policy, debate and discuss, and you cannot wish us away. You know, this is a period when there are profit-walas. We used to call them box-walas when we were young. When I was in university, people who were in corporations, etc., were known as box-walas because of metal box. It was known as a big company at that time. So everyone was called a box-wala. We are called jhola-walas. Doesn't matter. They are box-walas, and I think profit-walas and jhola-walas. The point is, none of us may be fully right. And none of us can say to the other that you don't exist. So if the jhola-walas say something, then the box-walas and the profit-walas and the sarkar-walas and everywhere else has to listen to us. So we have to make a place for us to express our point of view. We are all bothered about cleansing political parties. The Right to Information wanted to put political parties under it. I don't know how many of you read the papers and know that all the political parties got together and said political parties should not come under the Right to Information. It was lying in Parliament now because of Parliament having closed its laps, but it will come up again. Do we or do we not want every one of us under the scanner? Because in ethics, everyone must be. I'll just tell you a quick story. I'll finish quickly. There's a story written by a man called Vijay Dandeta, whom my Rajasthani friends, I found a lot of you from Rajasthan, may know. We all affectionately call him Bijji. He just passed away a few months ago. He retold Rajasthani folk stories, and he talked about his Thakur, who thought he was very fair, you know. So anyone came to his court, and he asked them, कि भाई क्या सजा चाहिए तुम्हें? मैं तुम्हें 2 विकल्प देता हूँ. एक आया एक जिसने अपराधी आया तो उसको बोला भाई 2 सजा, या तो तुम 100 प्याज खाओ या तुम 100 जूते खाओ. तो उसने सोचा यार अब सबके सामने जूता खाएं तो पता नहीं क्या होगा, तो प्याज खा लेते हैं. तो उसने कहा मैं प्याज खाऊंगा. 12-13 प्याज खाया, उसका मुंह जला, उसकी आंखों से पानी आई. उसने कहा जनाब मुझे सर पे मार दो मगर मैं प्याज और नहीं खा सकता. उसके 8-9 बड़े सर पे जूतों की, तो पिलपिला हो गया पूरा सर. तो उसने कहा जनाब मैं सर पे तो नहीं खा सकता, मैं प्याज खा लूंगा. तो वो 100 प्याज भी खा गया और 100 जूते भी खा गया, है ना. तो हम भी यही करते हैं, इससे थक जाते हैं, कहते हैं ये बहुत निकम्मी पार्टी है, उसको जिताओ. वो चढ़ा देते हैं, फिर वो सर खाता है, फिर कहते हैं अरे ये निकम्मी है तो इसको जिताओ. तो हम कभी प्याज खाते हैं और हम कभी जूते खाते हैं. हमें तो क्या करना पड़ेगा, हमें देखना पड़ेगा कि वैकल्पिक राजनीति क्या है. वी हैव टू थिंक ऑफ not political alternatives merely, we have to think of alternative politics. The politics of participatory governance, the politics of ethics, the politics of principle, the politics of decentralized democracy, the politics that is honest with us, doesn't make promises that are false, a politics that is transparent and accountable to us. At the lowest level, to the highest level, we have to think, and we means you and I am fading away, but you are there, you will have to think. If you do not think, as Deep told you, if you do not think, then it's your future. So how do we define this participatory democracy for ourselves and participatory politics for ourselves is the present contemporary challenge. I hope all of you will participate. Will you? Yes. Good, good, good. So I come to the end of what I'm going to say, and I'm going to say that people's politics, can I have the next slide, please? People's politics, therefore, is very, very important. So there are two strains in India. There is the strain of the political establishment, which fights by going into governance, by assuming office, becoming prime minister, ministers. There is the bureaucratic establishment. You go into it, and let me tell you, they're as culpable as the politicians. We'll leave them out. I have some very good friends sitting in the audience. I crave their indulgence. They're fantastic people, and I admire and respect many of them, but as a system, they don't really want change. Before a new government comes, everybody is changing their minds rapidly. Before even a new government is saying what it wants, they change. In anticipation, they change. What happens to us? We want a continuity of an act. We want a continuity of a policy. We want a continuity of a promise. If every government comes every 5 years and changes every program or every law, how will India get into that 8.5%? Impossible. So, the conscience, the politics of conscience, which I talked before, of movements and of people on the public domain who will ask unpopular, uncomfortable questions. Some raised by Gopal Gandhi when he gave his lecture yesterday, which has been reported in the front page of Times of India. They have to be asked. Whether a Gopal Gandhi asks it, who was my batchmate and friend, or me, or the public people's movements, or you, or anybody. Uncomfortable questions must be asked, and hame jagah deni chahiye. There should be place for dissent. You cannot say anybody who criticizes us is a criminal and put us behind bars. There must be place for dissent, and I must add a little piece of humor. I remember Gopal Gandhi, when he was governor, Bengal was chairing a session, and I went as a speaker, and he said, Bhai, Aruna and I are known as people who came from the same batch. And he said, only two places where this batch has any relevance and never changes. One is what comes on the label of a bottle, and the other one is what is appended to an IAS officer. I thought it was funny. You don't think it's funny? So these batches and all that apart, I'm very, very happy that some of my bureaucrat friends who have left the bureaucracy now are doing phenomenally good work. So by merely exercising the vote and polling, because it's again election time, we don't finish, it's the beginning. What we do is we drop the vote in that ballot box, and you and I transfer our sovereignty to our representative. And we are saying to him or her, the next 5 years, you are accountable to me. I will monitor you which way, how, and you are responsible to me. There have been so many lampoons and I don't know, you must be seeing on the internet nowadays, all asking these very good questions. The social media is full of it, and I expect you to ask even more. Mohanji, whom I began with, who sat on the mud floor, also sang a song. I don't have time, so I'm just going to tell you what the lyric is. There is a song on the computer, but I don't think maybe there's time. He used to say, "Pehle wala chor jangla mein rehta re. Abhe wale chor to bungalow mein ghus gya re." Huh? And the refrain was, "Raj choran ko, rishwat kora road machave re, Raj choran ko." Then the second stanza said, "Pehle wale chor bhaiya, बंदूक क्या शू मारता रे, बंदूक से मारता था. अबे वाला चोर तो कलमाओं मारे रे, कलमों, राज चोरंग." That's how RTI was understood by people because of these lyrics. So in our capacity to write and transform society, we use culture. Resolve as you leave this, that you will monitor and be vigilant. Don't become vigilantative or indulge in vigilantism. But don't do moral policing. But you have to monitor. You have to be vigilant. And that's important. Of government, of laws, of policy of parliament. Resolve as you leave that you'll speak the truth to power, regardless, however powerful the truth, man or woman or system is in front of you. And to ensure that there's justice for you and through you for a large group of people, and then democracy will resolve itself. And you also resolve that democratic power will be shared by all equally. So it is in this action of yours that you will be, as Deep said, the change you want to see. Unless you change, the system can't change, democracy can't change. Thank you very much.
I now declare the 33rd convocation closed.